switch it?
Try the other one. Keep hitting it. Okay, go to the next one.
insert go? There was a program in here.
The mic's on.
Oh.
Vehicles and get inside, we'd really appreciate it. We're going to start in about 10 minutes.
Good morning. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the national anthem. We have a couple of flags up. We have one right up here by the stage. There's also one behind us, or behind you at East Meadow. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the Star-Spangled Banner. Thank you. Thank you to the Granby High School Band. That was a recording we got from them. You may have a seat. Welcome to the commencement exercises for the Granby Junior Senior High School class of 2020. We should be live on your car stereo as well at 88.3, but if you can hear us, no, that's not working. Sorry. We did our best. Honestly, there were many times in the past few months that I did not expect to be standing here in front of all of you, delivering this speech and recognizing all of your work with everyone present. But somehow we were able to pull this together. We approached this problem just like we approach most problems at Granby Junior Senior High School, as a community, with input from parents, staff, and students throughout the process. Early on, our 2020 graduation work group decided a few things. One, we wanted to do something on Saturday, June 13th, our original graduation date. Two, we wanted to give students an opportunity to celebrate with their family, friends, and classmates to the extent possible. And three, we wanted the class of 2020 to have a say in what this event would look like. I will admit that when we first started talking about these things in late April, I knew we would be able to give students a voice, but I was not confident June 13th or being able to celebrate with family, friends, and classmates would be a possibility. It might not be ideal circumstances, and I know I've flooded you all with emails and expectations the past few weeks, but here we are on a bright, beautiful Saturday, June 13th, with all of you here to celebrate our 56 graduates. This would not have happened if not for the work of many, many people. I do want to thank the following individuals and groups. The 2020 Graduation Work Group, the Granby Junior Senior High School Administrative Assistants, Linda Tees and Natalie Lacoste, our custodial and maintenance staff, Orange Sound and Mr. Greg Dwinell, GCAM, Sapowski's Farm, the Granby PTO, the Granby Board of Health, the Granby Police Department, the Granby Fire Department, our district leadership team, and the entire Granby Public Schools faculty and staff. I also want to thank the class advisor of the class of 2020, Ms. Jennifer Blackburn. And I would like to thank Allison Jordan, my assistant principal. What about representing your school and community in the state finals? after a Western Mass Championship celebration at the hangar, of course. Do you remember dancing at the cotillion with my daughters? What about the time you supported your teammates when you were on crutches, but still attended practices and games? Or the time you tried to bribe me $20 for a better parking spot at graduation, and then came back and asked me if I wanted anything from Cindy's? Remember when you threw candy at me during our trick-or-treat event, and I caught every single piece? The staff winning three-legged hockey again? Do you remember going to Women in Sports Day at the State House with Ms. Jordan? And do you remember when you decided that you were going to have tea with every adult in the building, and then you did it? I could go on and on. Typically, I would focus my comments at graduation on the closing of one chapter and moving on to the next. All the great things this class has in store in the future, which they do, but I can't help but feel that we have not had time to close this chapter. I am glad these memories have helped fill a void in some way, but I am disappointed and frustrated at all the opportunities we have missed these past 3 months to make new ones. It will be these memories of mine and the many that everyone here have that keep us connected. Looking ahead, I'm excited to think of all the potential this group in front of me has and the great things that they will surely accomplish. There are future teachers, police officers, activists, leaders, firefighters, engineers, social workers, and probably even a few people who will take on jobs that don't even exist today, sitting in front of me. I am confident that your time at Granby Junior Senior High School and in the Granby Public Schools, although cut short, has provided you with the skills, knowledge, and relationships you will need to take on whatever the world throws at you. My good friend, Mrs. Tees, shared a book with me this week to read with my daughters. Yet when we read it this week, this quote had me thinking about all of you. Don't measure how valuable you are by the way you are treated. Always remember, you matter, you're important, you are loved, and you bring to this world something that no one else can. You are strong, confident, intelligent, and incredibly resilient. You are the Granby Junior Senior High School class of 2020. Congratulations. At this time, I'd like to invite Senior Class President Paige Parlingas to give her class welcome. Couple kinks.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Granby Junior Senior High School's 2020 graduation ceremony. I know this isn't the ideal graduation that everyone had in mind, but it sure is one that all of us will remember forever. First off, I just want to give a quick thank you to everyone who's here today. All the faculty and staff, my classmates, families, and especially my parents. In all my 17 years of life, I never would have imagined that this is how we would end our senior year. I've always dreamed about the day of graduation. Not everything might look the same this year as it usually does, but in the end, we're all still accomplishing the same thing we would have been. We're graduating, and at least we're not sitting in a 100-degree gym. No one would have guessed that this is what our year would look like, although it's pushed us to be stronger, and it's made me realize that not everything goes the way you planned in your life. Nothing has been easy, but it makes us work harder for what we deserve. We never would have thought that we'd have to withstand a national pandemic, but here we are, sitting together today, standing above it all. The class of 2020 has been able to resist all the burdens that life has thrown at us, and we're prepared to take this quality with us wherever our futures hold. I've always thought about the day that I'd write this speech ever since 6th grade when I was sitting in the audience of the gym, listening to my brother speak at his own graduation. Not only did I get to watch my brother speak, but I got to watch my sister as well. After watching them stand up here at the podium, speaking their words to their class, I knew that when I graduated, I wanted to do the same. I don't think I realized how nerve-wracking it would actually be standing up here in front of all these people, or should I say cars in this case. But it's also good to know that I have 54 supporters by my side. Not only are they by my side at this very moment, but they've been by my side for the last 12 years of my life. It's crazy to think that today can mark the end of our time together. The class of 2020 truly is a special class. We're made up of athletes, artists, musicians, brainiacs, dancers, gamers, and most importantly, good-hearted human beings. Even if not all of us are the greatest of friends, we all have some sort of compassion for each other, and that's what I love about each and every one of you. While you're living in the moment during high school, it's easy to say that you can't wait until you graduate. But when the time comes, you start to sit back and realize that maybe these really were some of the best years of our lives. We've met people who have shaped who we are. I can proudly say that without my friends, I wouldn't be who I am today. And not only have my friends shaped me, but I know that every one of you in some way has had a mark on who I am too. Not only are we close as a class, but we're close with our educators as well. GHS has provided us with not only teachers, but friends. Being a student at GHS means that you're a family. All the laughs I've had, all the times I've gotten a glare from Mr. Dorman, talked to Mr. Holden about what recipe he's going to be making for dinner, talked to Ms. Ingraham about life problems, played bingo with Mr. Bernash, or danced with Ms. Pinkney. These are all moments that all of us should be lucky to have. Not all students get the chance to have these bonds with their teachers, but being such a small school, we're lucky to have these connections and the ability to really know who we're with every day. Zoom and Google Meets isn't the ideal way that I wanted to end senior year with them and all my classmates, but at the same time, everything that has happened has led us up to where we are today, being as one again. Leaving here today, I want you all to remember a few things. Life's what you make of it. I hope you all live to follow your dreams and pursue whatever it is you want to do. Everyone deserves to have a chance at something great, and I know that all of you are capable of making big things happen. You might not always succeed at everything you do, but let that push you to work harder towards what you want. We're all capable of this, and I know you all have it in you. I'm going to finish off this speech with my favorite quote, also known as my senior quote by F. Scott Fitzgerald. For what it's worth, it's never too late to be whoever you want to be. I hope you live a life you're proud of, and if you find that you're not, I hope you have the strength to start over. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2020. We did it.
Now Shannon Tremblay, senior class treasurer, will present the class gift.
The class of For our class gift, we'll be giving Granby Junior Senior High School a tetherball set as well as 2 metal basketball nets for our outside court. We hope that many grades to come will be able to use and enjoy our gifts. We hope that come fall, students will be outside and playing in school again. We would also like to thank all of our teachers and staff at GHS for providing us with the best gift, the gift of a safe, loving, and positive environment for us to learn. Thank you.
It is now my pleasure to introduce the salutatorian from the class of 2020, Audrey O'Connor. Not as easy as it looks.
Hello, class of 2020. To my friends, family, classmates, teachers, and administration, I welcome you to our graduation and thank you all for being here. This ceremony is not only a celebration of our high school accomplishments, but a celebration of the start of our future, our dreams, and our goals. As I was brainstorming ideas for this speech, I realized that we've all gained something so much more than just a high school education at Granby. We've all learned a very important life lesson that I would like to take a few minutes to reflect on and share with you the event that sparked my inspiration for this speech. A few weeks ago, I had just gotten home from work when I was sitting on my couch with my family. Imagine my surprise when I looked outside to see Mr. Sullivan, Miss Jordan, and 5 teachers on my front lawn. They had planned a parade to congratulate me on being second in the class. After they left was when I realized that the teachers at Granby have taught us all something in common. Now, I'm sure all of you are very over learning new lessons from our teachers, but I would like to share with you one last lesson I have learned from all my teachers at Granby Junior Senior High School. The lesson I learned that I now share with you is that we cannot control many situations in our lives, but our reaction to these situations proves our true character. Everyone struggles with situations in their lives that aren't ideal, situations that are emotionally painful and just plain difficult. We are never truly taught how to handle pain and adversity. There's no class called How to Deal with Problems in Our Lives. Our teachers have taught us not to wait for the storm to pass, but to learn to dance in the rain. I've also learned from my fellow classmates during the many instances in which our student body has had a positive reaction to hardship. One example is when the school had to have a large layoff of staff in 2016. We were only in 8th grade. Students took it into their own hands to help keep our teachers' jobs. We had a school-wide walkout to help save our staff. This is the kind of school pride I'm really going to miss. Another situation we had to deal with multiple times, specifically whenever it rained, was water pouring from the ceilings of the school. We didn't complain or get angry at administration. We did our best to help stop the school from flooding and laughed while we did it. I remember there being no trash cans left to collect the dripping water. There are way too many videos out there of rain coming through the ceilings of that building. Once again, we found a silver lining, even in the rain. The last and most recent example was when COVID-19 came to Massachusetts. Teachers, staff, and students all did their best to make our senior year the best it could be. The students made videos about how much they missed the teachers. Our teachers made a video for our college decision day and a video about how much they missed the students. Our teachers even put together a parade for us to see each other again. We somehow even got to have a graduation with all of us together in person, surrounded by our families and friends. These positive reactions to negative situations are what makes Granby the best small school you could go to. Going back to what I realized from being congratulated with a parade of teachers on my lawn that day was that Granby Junior Senior High School has taught me that we cannot control many situations in our lives, but our reaction to these situations proves our true character. You either get bitter or you get better. It's that simple. You either take what has been dealt to you and allow it to make you a better person, or allow it to tear you down. The choice does not belong to fate, it belongs to you. Circumstances don't make a person, they reveal them. This school community has taught us how to face our problems, deal with pain, and handle tough situations. I am forever grateful to the teachers and staff that have helped me learn this lesson. And I hope I can inspire my peers and fellow graduates to carry this with them on whatever path life takes them on. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2020.
Thank you, Audrey. It is now my pleasure to introduce the valedictorian of the class of 2020, Daniel Mainville. I think I would get better after.
Hi, class of 2020.
Hi, Daniel.
When I was told that I was the valedictorian, I was pretty happy, as you'd expect. But I also knew that the honor came with delivering a speech. I was certainly given an interesting year to give a valedictorian address. I became very nervous about it, because how was I supposed to summarize our high school experience into a 5-minute speech? But when I was brainstorming and organizing my thoughts, I discovered a single word that I thought truly encapsulates the class of 2020, and that is resilience. For the past 3 or so months, schools nationwide have closed down, while other grades also had to deal with the online classes. It was really the class of 2020 that lost the most. What was supposed to be the most unforgettable months of our entire high school career were replaced by months of being stuck in our houses, unable to see our friends and unable to see our teachers. It robbed us of many activities that gave previous senior classes some of the best memories of their 4 years in high school. Even with all the misfortunes the world threw at us this year, we are all still here, all together again to graduate. While we are ending our senior year without the typical memories that other graduating classes have had, we will leave here with new and unique memories. We will all remember the many Zoom calls we had with our friends to keep some semblance of sanity. We will all remember the reverse parade hosted by our amazing teachers. And we will all remember our social distance graduation in the midst of a pandemic. While these are not the activities that we were expecting to have in our senior year, I can say pretty confidently that our year will be one for the history books. I would be remiss if I didn't take the time to thank our teachers, and I think we can all agree that the teachers were really what made our high school experience so great. Teachers already work so hard, and for the past 3 months they've been put into overdrive. Many of them have children of their own, but still find time to send out assignments, write kind and personalized emails to us, and many of them, like Mrs. Pinckney and Mr. Dorman, still had time to set up Zoom calls for their classes. And that's what's so great about our teachers. Even when we are no longer seeing them every day, they still find a way to communicate and support us. Ms. Lewison gave Audrey and I dozens of review sheets in preparation for our calc exam and checked in with us daily the week of the exam. Mrs. Pinckney drove to all her graduating seniors' houses and left a memento to remember our time in her class. Many teachers, guidance counselors, and other staff members drove to all the seniors' houses to leave a sign to tell them that they are missed. And I know that we all missed our teachers as well. And even before quarantine started, our teachers were amazing. We will all remember the songs on Friday in Miss Pinckney's class, the current events in Mr. Racine's class that sometimes took the whole period, and the times when teachers like Mr. Holden and Mrs. Blackburn started dancing in the middle of class. If I could say something great about every teacher, guidance counselor, and staff member at Granby Junior Senior High School, I would, but then we'd be stuck here all day. I know that many teachers have left lasting impressions on us, and I hope that we left some interesting memories for them. Then there are my classmates. It certainly has been a journey for all of us. While we all took different paths to get where we are, we all made it. We are all graduating. As our future is just on the horizon and we prepare to take different paths in life, I hope all of you take some time and look back at the past 4 years with fondness. Some of you are going to college for nursing, for criminal justice, for business, for education, and some are going into the trades. While I don't have time to state everyone's path they have chosen for the next phase of their lives, I want to congratulate each and every one of you for the hard work that you've put into high school for the past 4 years. As we leave this part of our lives behind, and I look out at all my peers, I know that every single one of us will do something amazing with our lives. I know this because of our perseverance, because of our strength, and because of our resilience, which has kept us going for the 4 long years of high school. Hey, and if a global pandemic can't stop us, I don't know what can. Thank you, and congrats to the class of 2020.
I would now like to introduce the commencement speaker chosen by the class of 2020, Mr. John Bernash.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. And before I begin, can I just say that I'm kind of liking this new normal? I feel like Led Zeppelin up here. Somebody bring me a turntable. DJ Mr. B. Family and friends, distinguished guests, and of course, my favorite students. Let me begin my remarks by first thanking the class of 2020 for allowing me the privilege of speaking here today. This is an honor that I will carry with me for the rest of my days, and I stand here with a deep sense of gratitude and humility. Today, all of us, students, parents, teachers, have been brought together as a true community of purpose to celebrate this transitional moment and recognize your many achievements. You graduates are the reason we are here. You are the people who have filled our lives with a loving purpose. Indeed, it is my fervent hope that this community of love that surrounds you has provided you with some emotional immunity to the circumstances that have, since March the 16th, intruded on the traditional notions of how life is supposed to be lived and how school is supposed to be conducted. I certainly don't have to tell you that the onset of the COVID pandemic has clouded over the bright sense of certainty and optimism that usually frames this joyous event. We have all been forced to recalibrate our expectations about the future and adjust to this new and anxious reality. In a broad historical context, pandemics periodically happen, but of course, that offers little consolation to those of you who are on the cusp of launching into this difficult environment. The new vocabulary we have all had to master is indicative of the challenging landscape we have all had to navigate. Pandemic, community spread, PPE, and everyone's favorite oxymoron, social distancing. In Shakespearean terms, you have all had to endure the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. But enduring these misfortunes does not mean being defeated by them. Quite the opposite, for I have learned in my many years that it is in the crucible of life's unexpected circumstances that wisdom and resilience are forged. And I am convinced that in these difficult times, the adversity you are experiencing will only enhance the durability of your character. Class of 2020, your character is firmly on display here today. Think of all that you have done to make this moment a reality. Initially, we had no idea about what kind of graduation ceremony would take place. That's when you stepped in and began to tactfully make your preferences known. And a new normal was created, one which safely captures the pomp and circumstance of this joyous milestone. Let this moment be an example for all the challenges you will face in the future. Life hits you with one of its slings or arrows, and you must absorb the initial shock, but then make the necessary adjustments, create a new normal, and keep moving forward. This process, I think, will not be a problem for you. When I look at you all, I am reminded how many of you have displayed the type of leadership that makes my heart swell with pride. How many of you have chosen career paths that are defined by an ethos of community service? And how many of you have exhibited over the years a high degree of altruism and a willingness to extend a helping hand whenever it is needed. Indeed, even at this young age and during these difficult times, you have made it a point to give back to the greater community by sharing your courage, skills, and talents, and by strengthening the great bond of affection which has connected us for all these years. These efforts began before the school closure, with the many community service projects that you initiated. After the closure, you kept our spirits up with compassionate emails and letters, offering eloquent words of empathy and encouragement. The video you guys made, the Miss You video, put a smile on my face by reminding me that we are all in this together. You modeled the spirit of inclusion by asking teachers to actively participate in creating your senior video. That's something that has never been done before. You persevered through the uncertainties and frustrations of distance learning, getting the assignments done through hard work and extraordinary self-discipline. And of course, I think of all of you who have been on the front lines during this pandemic, working jobs to help support your families, and helping out around the house. Time after time, you have proven yourselves essential in so many ways that I can only hope that you will continue this trend. Now, you cannot be blamed if you look to the future with a certain degree of trepidation. Between the pandemic, the resulting economic distress, the anger and unrest sweeping across the country, I wouldn't blame you for feeling more than a little disillusioned. But this is the moment for you and your generation to double down on creating a new normal, a better normal that renews the promises articulated in our nation's founding principles. America has always been a forward-looking nation. Indeed, you must always remember that what makes America exceptional is the promise that is woven into the fabric of our society, the promise of a better tomorrow for its citizens. One of the challenges your generation faces is how to guarantee this promise to all Americans. I can only hope that our time together in English 12 has in some way prepared you for this task. I know that I have often been both impressed and inspired by your thoughts about the literature we have studied. One example I can cite is from the last book we read, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. You may remember, I certainly hope you remember, that the book itself is not necessarily a monster story, but rather a cautionary tale about the perils of prejudice. On your unit exam, I asked you to write about what lessons we could learn from reading Frankenstein. Carol LeBlanc wrote in her essay, "The only person who accepted the creature was Old Man DeLacy, who was blind and couldn't see what the creature looked like, but sensed that the creature meant no harm towards anyone." Kara continued, "Through this example, we learn not to judge people by how they look, but to take the time to get to know a person. If we embrace this lesson, maybe the world could be a better place. Maybe the world could be a better place." Kara wrote that in January, and it has stayed with me to this very day. Thank you, Kara. So how do you, class of 2020, make the world a better place? You do it by sharing your kind hearts and caring souls, the two qualities that for me and everyone here today will always define the class of 2020. You do it by continuing to build your levels of empathy, courage, and resilience, the virtues that you have consistently displayed and the virtues that will move our country forward. You do it by never forgetting that we, as a nation, are all in this together. As I look out at you here today, I am vividly reminded that you are the light. And I have absolute faith that your generation will take this country to a better place, a place that will be shaped by what President Lincoln referred to as the better angels of our nature. So, Go out into this world with the understanding that normal does not mean permanent or optimal, and that sometimes what seems to be a crisis is in part an opportunity to rethink and reshape the world around you. As a matter of fact, I sincerely hope that for us older folks, 2020 will be remembered as the year we stopped teaching you and you started teaching us. Good luck and Godspeed, class of 2020. The world is waiting for you. Thank you.
Now, Superintendent Stanton, Mr. Simpson, and members of the Granby School Committee, I present to you the class of 2020. By the power vested in you as a superintendent of schools in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I ask that you certify that these 56 young men and women who have satisfactorily completed the scholastic requirements set forth by the Granby School Committee and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts are entitled to receive their diplomas.
Good morning. Committee as a whole, I accept as qualified for graduation the class of 2020. I congratulate all of you on the completion of your program of studies and will now award your diplomas.
Okay, guys, it's about that time for our senior night. The first graduate is the president of the class of 2020. She earned the Commendable Achievement in Mathematics. She earned Principal's List this year. She's the Granby Student Council Award and is a member of the National Honor Society. Paige Elizabeth Parlingus. Paige. First one through. We'll get there. The next graduate is the salutatorian. She is also vice president of the class of 2020. She received the Excellence in World Language, Spanish, Excellence in English Honors, Excellence in Mathematics, the American Legion Post 266 Award, the Granby South Hadley Chamber of Commerce George Anderson Memorial Award, the Selectman Good Citizen Award, the Raymond W. Randall Memorial Scholarship. She is a member of the National Honor Society and received the St. John's University Provost Scholarship, Audrey Mary O'Connor. The next graduate is the treasurer of the class of 2020. She received the Excellence in World Language, Spanish. She earned Principal's List this year. She received the Granby Civic Award. She is a member of the National Honor Society and earned the Merrimack College Trustee Scholarship. Shannon Marie Tremblay. The next graduate is the recording secretary of the class of 2020. She earned excellence in English honors, commendable achievement in mathematics. She earned principal's list for all 6 years at Granby Junior Senior High School. She's the recipient of the Massachusetts School Administrators Association Award. She is a member of the National Honor Society and is a recipient of the Beth Craven Memorial Scholarship. Celia Morgan Heward. The next graduate is the corresponding secretary for the class of 2020. She earned principal's list for all 6 years. Kaylin Ashley Croto. The next graduate is the valedictorian of the class of 2020. He earned excellence in world language Spanish, excellence in fine arts music, commendable achievement in mathematics, excellence in social studies, principal's list for all 6 years, Holyoke Rotary Scholarship, the Granby Educators Association. He is a TAB trainer and a member of the National Honor Society, Daniel Joseph Mainville. Our next graduate is Evan Paul Adeletti. Our next graduate is Dominic Gabriel Benoit. Our next graduate is the recipient of the Gretchen Syak Award and the Beth Craven Memorial Scholarship, Faith Armand Bergeron. Our next graduate is the recipient of the Excellence in Fine Arts, Excellence in English Honors, the Alta M. Smith Scholarship, and she is a TAB trainer, Isabella Marie Bonavita. Our next graduate is Stephen Philip Burgess. Our next graduate is the recipient of the Jessica Bale Award, Jamie Cologne. The next graduate is Sean Daniel Cordero. Our next graduate is a TAB trainer, Kaylee Amber Crodo. I'll take it. Our next graduate is Nathan Levi Drapo. Our next graduate is the recipient of the Excellence in AP Literature and Composition, Principals List this school year, Florence Bank Scholarship, the Rose and Joseph Syak Award, the Granby Civic Award, the Herbert and Inez Durant Scholarship, the Selectmen Good Citizen Award. He is a TAB trainer, a member of the National Honor Society, the recipient of the Timothy Patrick Merritt Memorial Scholarship, the Beth Craven Memorial Scholarship, and the St. Michael's College Book Award. Braden Clifford Dwinell. Our next graduate earned Principals List for all 6 years. So the recipient of the Granby Custodian Association Scholarship, the GAA Henry Ziamek Award, and then a member of the National Honor Society, Julia Lauren Frappier. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in Wellness Award. The graduate is Louis Javon Gay. Our next graduate is Colin Joseph Gallagher. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in Wellness and is a member of the National Honor Society, Julia Ann Govin. Our next graduate is Logan Riley Gray. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in Wellness, even though I beat him in pickleball. Joshua Allen Hart. Our next graduate earned the Junior Class Service Award, Student Government Day Representative, Principals Award for Outstanding Service to School and Community, and she is a TAB trainer, Jordan Florence Healy. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in Fine Arts for Music, Brandy Michael Heath. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in Fine Arts for Art, the Junior Class Service Award. She was a Student Government Day representative and recipient of the Beth Craven Memorial Scholarship, Olivia Lauren Hinckley. Our next graduate received the Excellence in World Language for Spanish, Excellence in AP Literature and Composition, Excellence in Science, the Principals List Award this year, American Legion Post 266, the American Legion Women's Auxiliary Award, the Chicopee Sportsman Club Award, the Holyoke Rotary Club Scholarship, the Michael Mullen Award. She is a tab trainer and member of National Honor Society, Molly Elena Hoffenberg. Our next graduate is Amir Hossein Karamshahi. Our next graduate is Sarah Karamshahi. Our next graduate is the recipient of the GAA Henry Ziomek Award, Mitchell John Labby. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in Fine Arts for Art, Caitlin Isabel Leno. Our next graduate was a Principals List awardee, Ezekiel LaRose. Our next graduate is a member of the National Honor Society, Megan Noel Lawson. Our next graduate is a tab trainer and a member of the National Honor Society, Kara Elizabeth LeBlanc. Our next graduate was the recipient of the Marie Quark Memorial Scholarship and a member of the National Honor Society, Lily Ann Longo. Our next graduate is Douglas Edward Mazuik. Our next graduate is the recipient of the GAA Tim Nato Memorial Scholarship and a member of the National Honor Society, Kayla Marie McCreary. Our next graduate is Michael John McGreevy. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in World Language for Spanish, Commendable Achievement in Mathematics, Principals List this year, and is a member of the National Honor Society, Ian Edward Moriarty. Our next graduate earned Principals List this year, Dominic Anthony Nomeko. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in World Language for Spanish, Principals List this year, the Faculty Appreciation Award, and is a member of the National Honor Society, Sabrina Marie O'Grady. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in Science Award, the Polish National Credit Union Award, exemplary attendance for this school year, and is a member of the National Honor Society, Margaret Louise Willett. Our next graduate is Braden Thomas Palmer. Happy birthday, Braden. Our next graduate earned the Assistant Principal's Award for Exemplary Conduct for all 6 years, perfect attendance this school year, exemplary attendance for all 6 years, and is a member of the National Honor Society, Allie Mackenzie Parent. Our next graduate is Christian Eli Perez. Our next graduate received the Granby Custodian Association Scholarship, Nolan Francis Raymond. Our next graduate is Moksh Sharma. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in English Award, Paru Sharma. Our next graduate received the Hope Community Service Award, the Holyoke Rotary Scholarship, the Patrick J. Cahalan Award. She is a member of the National Honor Society and earned the Springfield College Trustee Scholarship, Trinity Marie Sperry. Our next graduate earned the Excellence in Technology Award and is principals list this year, Hannah Catherine Sudsbury. Our next graduate is Matthew James Walls. Our next graduate is the recipient of the Excellence in Fine Arts for Art. Principals list this year, Marie Quirk Memorial Scholarship and is a member of the National Honor Society, Amelia Rose Weatherby. Our next graduate is the recipient of the Excellence in Fine Arts for Art, a member of the National Honor Society, and recipient of the Beth Craven Memorial Scholarship, Lindsay Helena Wenzel. Our next graduate is Samuel James Warinsky. Our next graduate earned principals list this year and is a recipient of the Beth Craven Memorial Scholarship, Caitlin Sophia White. Our final graduate earned principals list this year, earned the GAA Gary Russell Award, Senior Athlete of the Year. She is a member of the National Honor Society and the all-time leader in scoring in basketball in Granby history, Nora Catherine Young. Page. Yep, so we're just switching our tassels. Please stand. You are now graduates of Granby Junior Senior High School. We're not quite done yet. We're close, though. I said an hour and 15. We're really close. I'd like to introduce to the stage again, for the third time today, Vice President of the Class of 2020, Audrey O'Connor.
As Vice President of the Class of 2020, I am proud to say that we did it, seniors. We couldn't have done it without each other. Together, we graduated high school. This is the first step into adulthood, and I couldn't be more proud of each and every one of you. We owe a sincere and profound gratitude to everyone that helped us get to this day. I would first like to thank Mr. Sullivan and Ms. Jordan for putting all of this together and for supporting our class throughout our years of high school. You guys both went above and beyond planning this unique graduation. I would also like to thank the graduation work group that dedicated themselves to put ideals into action these past few months. So thank you to the staff, students, and parents who volunteered to be a part of that group. I would like to give an enormous thank you to our teachers. From pre-K until this momentous day, you have been the ones to give us the extra push when we've doubted ourselves. I believe teachers contribute more to the future of society than any other profession. Our class advisor, Ms. Blackburn, has wholehearted and selflessly guided the class and dedicated so much of her time for us. We truly appreciate everything you have done. To my fellow class officers, I am so thankful I got to work beside you these past 4 years to get to this day. I love you, girls. Thank you to our guidance counselors that have helped us with our difficult decisions about future plans. Your advice has impacted us more than you know. Thank you to every proud parent and family member for helping your child achieve their goals, whether it was giving them rides home from staying after school, bringing them to sports games, or simply being there for emotional support. Please know your child appreciates it. We can also thank the ones who helped make this setup look so special. Thank you to the Granby police officers that are here today, keeping us all safe and healthy. Thank you for being here today and supporting these 54 high school graduates. Congratulations to the best class to walk the halls of Granby High School.
Thank you, Audrey. Again, congratulations to the class of 2020. In closing, I'd like to ask the class to please stand and turn to the cars, and please give a round of applause to thank you to your parents, family, and friends. I can assure you the class of 2020 was unforgettable before this all happened, but certainly now you will be remembered by all of us forever. As we process out, I'd like to introduce the senior band song. Typically it would have been played by the band, but due to the circumstances of COVID-19, we're just going to play it. The Granby Junior Senior High School Band usually identifies a song to play at graduation. This year, the seniors in the band wanted the song to be for everyone in the class of 2020, not just those in the band. It is the senior song, after all. This year's song is Avengers Endgame by Alan Silvestri, arranged by Michael Brown. Brandy Heath, senior band member, said of this song that in the end, the movie is a saga, and they went out with a bang, and I thought the class of 2020 should do the same.